And now it's time for news from around the world. And meanwhile in India, there was a social media campaign to put pressure on their leadership in response to a number of different failures around things like dealing with the coronavirus. Except it was difficult for it to really get off the ground because Facebook actually banned the hashtag calling for Narendra Modi to resign. They did that yesterday. People who tried to post the hashtag instead saw a message saying that Facebook was temporarily hiding the posts in order to keep the community safe. Notably not saying which community is that they're trying to keep safe from political consequences. Anyway, they later said, after allowing it to be used, that it was blocked by mistake. And they claim that it wasn't because the Indian government asked Facebook to remove it or anything like that. It also says the block was the result of some of the kind of content that was using it, but they didn't specify what kind of content, how common it was, or anything like that. They just banned the whole thing. So they're saying it's not motivated by political pressure from the Indian government. I don't know, what do you think?
John, you know how I feel about censorship, and I don't like it. And I know Twitter can do their own thing and they can do whatever they like, but this is the kind of stuff that you get mixed into. If we're using social media and Twitter as platforms to communicate, I want it to be as free as possible because I don't like that this kind of stuff happens. I think Twitter's lying, which they have before.
In this case, it's Facebook, but yes.
Oh, and Facebook, Facebook really needs to regulate on the misinformation that's going on. That doesn't mean censorship. It just means I like the little alerts, like, hey, here's more information if you want to click, or this hasn't
context.
Yeah, and when you have a country that's in crisis like this, mobilizing the people is really important. And they I think, have a right to call out their leaders and to say you're failing us. And if they can't mobilize together, then that's really holding a whole group of people down from trying to come together as a collective and change the system. I mean, they don't have a lot of power in India as it is. So it's concerning to me when I see this kind of stuff happening because it's a slippery slope. It's either like you're either pro-life or you're pro-choice, and if you're pro-choice, you can't have any contingencies. It has to just be this. So it's either gonna be free speech, and I use that loosely because I don't mean in the legal way, but you're either gonna be able to have a platform like Twitter where you can say what you like, as long as you're not like, I'm gonna murder people, I get that. Or you're not. Like, you can't have all of these super contingencies in what's allowed and the government controlling it. If the government doesn't want Twitter there, then the government can block Twitter. But I don't like when Twitter jumps in there and does things like that.
And
I think it's really disillusioning.
By the way, yeah,
it is.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you've mentioned Twitter a few times. That's one of the things that makes people really nervous about this because Facebook can say that there was no government pressure, and maybe that's true. Although I think that if you believe that Mark Zuckerberg and his company wouldn't lie to us, you're crazy. Right. But it was just less than a week ago that Twitter censored tweets critical of India's handling of the pandemic at its government's request. So an American social media company got requests from a government to protect its political leadership from debate, let alone actual consequences. And they did what they wanted. And so we're supposed to believe Facebook, they're saying it wasn't as a result of pressure. Are they saying there wasn't any pressure? Are they saying there was pressure, but that's not what caused us to do it? It was something else. It just happened to happen at the same time that Twitter was bound to the pressure. Why would we believe?
That's what we say in Spanish, conveniente. How convenient that you happen to have that and it happened to happen. It was just a flub.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. We know they're lying. There's a lot of money to be made. These politicians and these governments have a lot of money. And this is what's tricky. When we start relying on these private companies to allow us to communicate, then they have control over who and how and when we can communicate.
Yeah.
And we need to have a free way to communicate that's universal. And I know when the internet came to be, it was supposed to be like this free space, and it was really meant to create equality. And it's being subverted.
That's why I suggest everyone go on Mike Lindell's social media site. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.